You know that person, right? The one who seems to pick up new skills almost instantly. We usually just chalk it up to them being smarter. But what if that's not the real story? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what really separates fast learners from everyone else. And here's the spoiler. It's something anyone can learn. It's the question we all ask ourselves, usually when we're struggling with something new. Why does it seem so effortless for them and like such a grind for us? Are they just wired differently? Born with a better brain? Well, the actual science points to a much more interesting and, frankly, more hopeful answer. And right here is where we completely flip the script. The myth, the story we've been told, is that your learning speed is fixed, that it's all about your innate intelligence. But the truth? It has almost nothing to do with the hardware you were born with. It's all about your relationship with the process of learning, your mindset, your feelings, and your habits. So first things first, let's just bust this learning speed myth wide open. Because once you see why the old way of thinking is wrong, the new path forward becomes incredibly clear. Here's the first big idea you've got to grasp. Learning isn't just a brain thing. It's a full body, full nervous system experience. Fast learners aren't necessarily smarter. Their bodies are often just calmer. They're better at managing their own internal state, and that, it turns out, makes all the difference in the world. This brings us to the real culprit, the actual speed limit that's holding us back: stress. Let's take a look at what's literally happening inside your brain when you try to learn under pressure. The key concept here is something called neurological safety. So your brain's number one job, above all else, is to keep you alive. And when it picks up on a threat, which could be anything from the pressure of a big exam to just the fear of looking stupid in front of people, it shifts into survival mode. And in survival mode, learning is a luxury it just cannot afford. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, a calm, regulated brain is flexible. It's open, it's ready to bring in new information and connect the dots. But a stressed brain? It becomes rigid and defensive. It's not trying to grow anymore. It's just trying to protect itself. All its energy goes toward handling the threat, leaving pretty much nothing left over for actual learning. Okay, so this biology stuff is critical. But how does that translate into our psychology? I mean, if our internal state is so important, how do fast learners actually manage it? Well, it all comes down to their mindset. Now, this is such a powerful reframe. Most of us, we hit that wall of confusion, and our first thought is, oh no, I'm not getting it, I must be dumb, I should stop. But fast learners see it totally differently. They know the confusion isn't a sign that they're failing. It's the feeling of their brain making new connections. It's a good sign, so they lean into it. And it's the exact same thing with effort. We're taught this story that if you were really smart, everything would feel easy. But fast learners know the complete opposite is true. That feeling of strain, of really having to grapple with an idea, that's not a sign you're bad at this. That is the physical sensation of your brain rewiring itself. Effort is the feeling of you getting smarter in real time. And this all boils down to your identity. If your identity is wrapped up in being the smart one, then anytime you don't know something, it feels like a personal attack. Your ego puts the walls up. But if you shift your identity to, I am a curious person, well, then not knowing isn't a threat. It's an adventure. It's an invitation. Curiosity opens the mind right up. Okay, so we've covered the internal biology and the mindset. Now let's get super practical. What are the specific, actionable things that fast learners are doing when they encounter new information? Fast learners are not passive sponges. They are active. They're participants. Instead of just reading a chapter over and over, they question it. Instead of just highlighting a passage, they try to connect it to something they already know. They try to explain the concept in their own words, even if it's just to themselves. And crucially, they test themselves long before they feel ready. It's this active wrestling that really builds those strong brain pathways. This really gets at a core difference. Slower learning is about accumulation. It's like just collecting a big pile of facts. Faster learning is about integration. It means you pause and think. You connect new ideas to old ones. You focus on how things work, not just what they are. It's truly quality over quantity. Deeply understanding one idea is way more valuable than just skimming 10. Now, this might be the most underrated learning habit of them all. We think we need to cram, to hustle, to just push through. But that's not how the brain works. A huge part of learning doesn't happen when you're studying. It happens when you stop, sleep, taking a walk, spacing out your sessions.
That's when your brain gets to work consolidating everything and moving it to long-term memory. Rest isn't being lazy, it's a strategic part of the process.
All right, so let's put all of these pieces together. The path to learning faster isn't about cramming more information into your head or finding some magic brain hack. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with the entire process.
And here is the absolute best part. Not a single thing on this list is a genetic gift. Every single one of these is a skill you can train. You can practice calming your nervous system. Seriously, even just a few deep breaths work wonders. You can choose to be curious. You can build these active habits. This isn't about the brain you were given. It's a toolkit that's available to literally everyone.
So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. We've been coming at learning from the wrong direction. We think the key is to try harder, to add more pressure, to force it. But the real secret is to do the complete opposite. It's about removing the internal friction, the fear, the self-judgment, all that pressure that's jamming up the gears in our brain. When you can do that, when you change your relationship with learning, learning itself becomes easy. And that is where you find real speed.